sometimes in this job, if you're working with micro celebrities and celebrities, you do advise them to do certain things simply because you know in the long run this would be better for their personal PR and in their public perception, how it works and how it feels on the bigger stage. And it's difficult, you know, when you do work with certain celebrities, because after a while they start to believe that what they're doing is right, and of course basically what you're suggesting is wrong. It wouldn't be right for their public image. Over here right now we have a missing persons investigation of a young gentleman that's gone missing over in another country. But guess what? The ubiquitous Carol Vorderman has decided to cite that as being something regarding something very similar to that happened to her after she disappeared when leaving a quiz show. You see what I mean? They always bring it back to themselves. You couldn't make this ridiculousness up. But of course, when you think about it, somebody like Meghan Markle has made a career out of getting people to talk about her without actually much substance or indeed background. You know, a lot of people talk about her literally. She's probably one of the most famous and written about people in the world, but not in a good way. And whether that annoys her or not, we don't actually know. But the other side of the coin is, when you think about it, somebody really should take her into hand and make sure she fully understands what's good PR and what's bad, because this is certainly bad. As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you today on another beautiful, bright, sunny day. And if you're going to bed, good evening. And as ever, hope you've had a lovely day, whatever you've been up to. And I know I do mention this a lot on the show, but people who are in the celebrity world are indeed very stupid in many certain respects, because they don't know really what's good for them. And by that I mean, you know, they have a gifted life, a lot of money, people looking after them. And when you think about Meghan Markle, she couldn't have had a better life inside the British monarchy. But for some reason for her, she didn't want it, you know, offending everybody from our late and wonderful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth, right through to, of course, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. But seemingly she offended somebody right at the very off. Now, many people know this story about how Meghan, of course, was gifted clothing from the Victoria Beckham fashion empire. And you may snigger, but you know, she's done incredibly well. Obviously had a good start by being married to an entrepreneurial footballer like David Beckham. But after a really rocky start, things have now taken off. In the early days, of course, 5-6 years ago, she was more than glad, of course, to loan certain individual items to the budding Duchess simply because it was good PR, positive for her. But now what's emerged is this, and as ever we have to say allegedly. You see, long before it was decided, it appears that apparently Victoria Beckham was hinted that she could in fact be doing the wedding frock. You know, the dress that apparently our late and wonderful monarch Queen Elizabeth felt was a little too white, which went to Givenchy. Yes, remember that. Now, when you think about it, this would have made perfect sense. And apparently Prince Harry thought this was the ideal thing too. Work this out, you know, there you have a brand, a British brand from someone that's very well known within the industry. Certainly going to get acres of coverage. Not a known brand for doing something like this, but of course it built a brand up. British to the core. And according to that source, and again, allegedly, according to that source, well, apparently Victoria Beckham thought she was down for it and only realised that she wasn't down for it when she read in the papers that it had gone to someone else, the Givenchy label, remember, Claire. Now, what was interesting about this was, according to that source, you know, Victoria had some ideas, it had very loose discussions. So at what point did she decide that this was a switch off and suddenly no more wedding gown? You can understand exactly why this story has now got legs, and more importantly for somebody like Meghan Markle, resulting in once again a whole heap of negativity in the PR world. Yes, predominantly coming from, of course, the Beckham book by the author Tom Bower. This, though, you won't have read. It's as ever my investigations. Fascinating stuff, though, don't you think? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.